Good morning. Hi, Addie. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Drop a one if you can hear me okay. It is 4 a.m. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Hope you are well. I just woke up. Let's see how long this lasts. I want to go over the Matthew Restelli murder. His wife is accused of murdering him via her brother. And her mother is involved. Happy New Year, March 13th. All right, we had a plan to do this while Sugar Bear was asleep. He is now woken up, so we'll this may not last long. But I want to go into Matthew, and we're going to start with his story because I feel like sometimes our victims get lost in all of this. So let's read on about him. Okay, so let me play this. Uh oh. Okay. Let me do that one more time. Mute, mute, mute. Okay, so Matthew Clark Costelli, known affectionately as Matt, passed away tragically on July 12th, 2024, in American Fork, Utah, at the age of 42. He was born on May 4th, 1982 in Houston, so that makes him a Taurus, Taurus in the house like me. He was born in Houston, Texas. His life was characterized by his deep love for the outdoors. He was an avid mountain biker and fisherman. He spent many hours exploring nature's trails and reveling in its tranquility, often accompanied by his beloved children. Matt's adventurous spirit and his profound appreciation for the natural world were evident to all who knew him. His commitment to his family was unparalleled. I'm reading from his obituary, by the way, providing them with not just love, but the shared experience of adventure that brought them closer together. He leaves behind his wife, Kathryn, and children, Lucas. Oh my God, I said I wasn't going to say their name. Sorry. And he has 3 children. I don't want to say that. Who will miss him dearly. Matt is also survived by his mother, Diane Restelli, his older brother, Paul, Paul's wife, Tiffany, their 4 children, whose name I won't say, younger brother, Mark Restelli, Mark's wife, Kelly, and their 2 sons. And he was preceded in death by his father, Thomas Paul Restelli Jr. His celebration of life was held. It was an intimate occasion for family and close friends to remember Matt and the joy he brought into their lives. So he was, married, minding his own business. It seems at some point, so he's originally from California. Or actually, he was born in Texas, but he was living in California. He got married there. He got married to the woman, Kathryn. They had 3 children together. Then at some point, Kathryn is in there. She's having an affair. Something is going on. She's no longer happy. Why doesn't she get a divorce? Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Yana. Carolina. Oh my goodness. Sugar Bear was asleep, I promise. He's going back to sleep. My voice wakes him up every time. But yeah, so they were of Mormon faith, I believe. She had moved to Utah. She lured him there to Utah. There's a lot of stuff going on under the guise of reconciling. Anybody got coffee? What are you guys sipping on this morning? I got coffee, low cream, low sugar. I also have a Diet Coke that's cooling off. So yeah. To mention. I try not to mention the names and then I accidentally did it. Oh my God. I just don't want it to keep hearing, like being out in the world over and over again associated with a crime. You know what I mean? Like it's just bad karma overall. So there's a lot going on. I want to give a clip of what the prosecutors are saying about, actually, before we do that, let's just because first her brother was arrested and then Kathryn's and then she was arrested. Let's just look at this. I'm going to share this tab and we'll play this. Let me make sure volume is up. We'll play this.
Joins us now live. All right, Dan, how are the wife and mother-in-law allegedly involved?
According to police, the 2 helped lure 42-year-old Matthew Restelli here to this gated community where he was shot and killed. Now, they say this was a planned killing. They purposely brought him here in order to be able to do that, and they say he was just an innocent father thinking he was coming to pick up his family. Now, the murder of Restelli happened here inside this American Fork home. Police say it was just after 10 o'clock, the night of July 12th, when Restelli walked through the front door and was shot 8 times, allegedly by his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law claimed self-defense, but according to police, evidence at the crime scene showed otherwise. Police say they then started to gather cell phone records and other information, including an air tag that was placed in Restelli's truck in order to track him from California to Utah. The brother-in-law, 33-year-old Kevin Ellis, was arrested back in July. Well, last night, Restelli's wife, 36-year-old Kathryn Restelli, and his mother-in-law, 59-year-old Tracy Grist, were arrested.
Things have started not adding up, and the more our investigators looked into it, the more we were able to show and come up with enough probable cause that Kathryn and Tracy had conspired to lure Matthew here to Utah in order to kill him.
Investigators say Restelli and his wife and 2 children live in California, and the 2 were having marital problems, so his wife came to Utah to stay with her mom. They say he thought he was coming to pick up his family to return home. Police say the 2 children were inside the home at the time of the killing. According to police, the motive here behind this was that the wife wanted a divorce and it was going to take too long. So this is what happened. They say that's what police are saying. Both of them are now behind bars at the Utah County Jail. Actually, back
That is crazy, right? Whatever happened to divorce? And they had an incredible digital footprint. I mean, you heard a little bit there from the air tags to the they were text messaging him. So there was something, his car was leaking, his truck was leaking, he was coming to pick them up. But the wife, Kathryn, invited him to Utah under the guise of reconciliation and set him up. And then the brother, as soon as the Matt comes into the house, shoots him 8 times and claims self-defense. But there was evidence. They were like, oh no, he just showed up. He'd been stalking, right? The mom, the ex or the wife, they were going through a divorce. They were separated. They weren't divorced. And the brother lured him there because there was a text message where he was like, oh, my truck is leaking, put some cardboard down. And she put cardboard down, Kathryn did, and then took a picture and sent it to him. And also, like, he was worried his truck wasn't going to restart. So he said, is it okay if I just leave the truck running? And she asked him, like, you're still going to come in, though, right? So it was still this pretense of, like, getting him into the house. And then the kids were there. So luckily, the police were not about that life and started looking up stuff right away. So I'm going to go into the affidavit of probable cause. And also shout out to Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo, who actually got these documents and was kind enough to share them with me. She knows I like to read. So she was like, girl, I got some stuff for you to read. And I was like, I appreciate you. So let me get to that screen and we can go over the probable cause. I don't know what's wrong with these people though and not getting a divorce. Like, is that not a thing anymore? Why people gotta die? Okay, so this is the affidavit of probable cause against the wife, Kathryn Restelli. So she was born in 1987, December 15th. She just had a birthday. She is in custody. So there's 5 offenses here, right? Domestic violence, presence of a child. So there were 2 children present, is what I'm guessing for the 1 and the 2. So there's a count against or an offense against each of the children. Murder. I'm not sure why murder is twice because there's only 1 person, but maybe 1 is murder, maybe 1 is. No, they have the same statute. I'm not sure. We'll get into it. Obstruction of justice, capital, 1st-degree felony conduct. I believe there is probable cause to charge the defendant with these. Can you hear me okay? Hopefully I don't sound like I am in, let me just turn this up. I don't sound like I'm in a vacuum or a tunnel. Testing. I'm going to flip it this way. If I sound tunnely, somebody give me a 2 because my eyebrows sound scary. I can see myself on the screen. They're healing. I got them microbladed. They've got a scab. Okay, anyway, you're not here for my eyebrows. On 7/12/2024, the American Fork Police Department received a call for service regarding a report of gunshots, at least 8, remember guys, fired at a residence located in American Fork. Who are my gun experts? What guns have 8 in the chamber? Or maybe not, it's not a chamber. I feel like, is that a movie thing where it's only 6? What are you guys? Yes, Carolina. And they Googled, that's one of their little digital footprints. They Googled the Adelsons. I don't know why, because the Adelsons were not successful, but yes, it's very much, except the brother actually pulled the trigger in this case versus hiring someone, but it's definitely giving those vibes, right? And I just realized I'm not sharing with you guys, so let's fix that. Here we go. Ooh, that's interesting. Do I want it to be that tiny, though? Let's see. I'm playing with StreamYard. I'm trying to figure out if I want to upgrade because there's a significant difference, but I was like, let me use the features that they have before I start paying for more stuff. Okay, I'm going to do it this way, and then hopefully you guys can see that. For what not to do, Addie, maybe. I don't know. They didn't take good notes then if that was their strategy. Okay, so A call for service regarding a report of gunshots fired at a residence located in American Fork. American Fork patrol officers quickly arrived at the residence and made contact with persons inside of the residence, including Kathryn Restelli, Kathryn's mother. I hope I'm saying their name right. If not, as we watch stuff, I'll get it in my brain. Kathryn's mother and Kathryn's brother, who is an adult. Kathryn and Matthew's 2 children were also in the residence at the time of the shots fired call. So I think they had 2 children together, and he or she had a son going into it, is what I'm guessing, because there's 3 kids, as you guys saw in that carousel. But they're saying 2 of them are their shared children. And I'm not sure if the brother has a different dad, Kathryn's brother. So you guys, eagle eyes, let's crowdsource that answer and see if we can figure it out together. Patrol. Oh, did I say good morning to everybody? Good morning, my true crime lovelies. I hope you are well. I hope you had an amazing New Year's Eve celebration and that you're nice and well. If you had a hangover or whatever, maybe you're just really hydrated. I hope you're enjoying it, whatever it is. Okay. So the 2 children were there. Patrol officers then observed a male inside of the residence who appeared to have been shot multiple times. Patrol officers attempted to perform first aid on the male, but medical arrived on scene and determined the male was deceased. The deceased male was identified by persons inside the inside the residence as Matthew Clark Restelli, who was approximately 42 years old. So everybody in there said, yeah, that's Matthew. He's 42. The residence in American Fork where this incident occurred is a gated community, which is important because they're alleging that he stalked her, right? How did he get in? So all that is part of the digital footprint. Number 2, the individual who called 911 to report the sounds of gunshots was later interviewed. I'm trying to track down the 911 call, guys. If anybody's heard it, let me know, because I definitely want to hear it and share it with everybody else who hasn't heard it. Okay, the individual stated they heard the gunshots and then waited approximately 2 minutes prior to calling 911. During this 2-minute time delay, the individual was processing what they heard to determine if they did in fact hear gunshots. The individual confirmed to themselves that they had heard gunshots and then attempted to call the residence from where the shots were heard. So it sounds like they heard it. The reason why there was a 2-minute delay is because they were like, did I hear gunshots? What was happening? I don't have a time yet, but I'm thinking, 22:07. Okay, so that was 10:07. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so they called 2 minutes after they heard it. The residents didn't answer. From this interview, detectives realized that the gunshots were heard at approximately 22:07. Detectives listened to the recorded 911 call and discovered it was received by dispatch at 22:09. So that's how they identified it was 2 minutes later, and then they questioned this individual. So number 3, a criminal homicide investigation. I'm glad you caught a live stream too, Carolina. So it was shot multiple times. So they're looking at a homicide, because even self-defense, like once, can you knock him out? 8 seems excessive. During this investigation, it was determined that Matthew Restelli is a California resident and was married to Kathryn Restelli, who was in the residence at the time the shots were fired. Because Kathryn was inside the residence when American Fork patrol officers arrived on scene, she was brought to the police department along with her mother and brother shortly after police responded. Click, clack. No, they didn't put her in handcuffs, but they did take her down for questioning. While at the American Fork Police Department, investigators spoke to Kathryn's brother and his attorney, who was present as the brother was questioned. It's his legal right, but it does sound suspicious. It was relayed to detectives through the brother's attorney that the brother shot Matthew in a manner which the brother believed to be self-defense. 8 times. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Hey, I was just shouting you out. Thank you for sending these docs over. I'm finally reading them. I had to do a lot of research on the back end and see what was going on with our Adelson copycats. But good morning to you, Sunshine. I'm gonna be watching you right after I finish this. Get my day started right. I have my cup of coffee, but ain't nothing like a Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo morning video to get me all the way awake. Okay, let's get back on topic. So where was I with this? Here we go. Okay. So brother's got an attorney. Attorney is conveying it was self-defense. Now in here doesn't say 8 gunshots, so I'm going to stop repeating that because that was in the video clip we heard, and I don't want to conflate it because he could have got the wrong child. But anyway, so the brother's attorney told detectives that Matthew had a knife. The brother and his attorney declined to answer questions from detectives about how the knife was produced or if Matthew threatened the brother or anyone else in the home with the knife. If we learn nothing else from Sarah Boone, we know there has to be some sort of act that made him feel like he was in imminent danger, although it could have been 2 fingers. No shade, no tea. But I think they also don't want to tell the story because they don't want to get locked into a story until they know what the evidence is, right? Because that looks worse when you have a story and then you go back on it to make it fit the evidence. So just don't tell a story till you know all the evidence. I mean, whether you're innocent or not, because things happen and you just may not remember exactly. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're, I don't know, looking like a liar because you're double back. Oh yeah, what about this one? There's adrenaline. There's a lot going on. But again, not for this guy because we have evidence that this was a setup. There's a lot. They left a lot of little crumbs, footprints, whatever you want to call them. The attorney relayed to police investigators that the brother told him that Matthew had shown up to the residence uninvited and unannounced with a knife. The brother was arrested and booked into jail on UCA, I don't know, whatever that is. Utah something. Anyway, it was reported to detectives by Kathryn that Matthew and Kathryn live in California, but have been having marriage problems. So Kathryn came out to Utah to stay with her mother, who is previously mentioned in this affidavit. The residence that Matthew was killed in is Kathryn's mother's residence. But where does the brother live? Kathryn told detectives that after Kathryn came out to stay with her mother, Matthew decided to drive from California to Utah to speak with Kathryn and possibly drive her back to California. Kathryn told detectives that she knew Matthew was on his way to Utah to meet with her at her mother's residence in American Fork. Kathryn reported, is there an American spoon? Why is it called fork? Or is it like a fork in the road? Somebody let me know. Kathryn reported that while Matthew was traveling from California to Utah, that he contacted her multiple times by phone. Kathryn told police investigators that her 2 children and herself were upstairs in the residence when Matthew was shot. So she's involving her phone. He's contacted her by phone. So of course they're going to ask for the phone. Why she didn't get a lawyer, I don't know. But, don't do crimes. Kathryn, the shooter, and the mother's phones were seized due to this incident being investigated for murder. Handed over. A search warrant was granted to search the 3 phones. A search of Kathryn's phone showed that Kathryn received a text message from her sister on 6/20/24, which read, "I'll be watching the AirTag and let you know as soon as it updates." That sounds perfectly innocent. A screenshot of Apple Maps with a blue dot was also sent to Kathryn's phone from the sister's phone, which showed the location in Aguananga, somewhere over there, California, which is near Matthew Restelli's residence in California. I'm from California. I've never heard of that, but it looks like Agua is at the. Oh no, that's Aqua. That I don't know what this is. Anyway, someplace with an A in California. So from these texts, it is reasonable to believe that there was a tracking device in California on 6/20/2024, which was being monitored. Now, this is, who does she think? It was her sister, but the sister's not charged, but she's involved. Okay. Another text message was found on Kathryn's phone that was sent from the sister's phone number to Kathryn's phone number on 6/21/2024. Sent from the sister's phone. Okay, this text message displayed another screenshot of an Apple map with the blue dot and the location of Temecula, California. So he's traveling. He hit Aguanga. Now he's Temecula, and the sister is tracking it and reporting it to Kathryn, which seems kind of redundant because then Kathryn could have just had the air watch herself. Do you know what I mean? Like, the purpose of you doing that, I would think, would be to keep. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate you. I appreciate the super sticker. Yay. Yeah, so Temecula is also near Matthew's residence in California. Kathryn responded to this text message with the following text. Yeah, I was just looking at it on mom phone. It may need another ping. So she doesn't have it on her phone, but it's on her mom's phone and on her sister's phone, this air tag. This text message indicates that Kathryn was monitoring a tracking device in Temecula, California on 6/21/2024 from her mother's phone. Snitching, just self-snitching. 8. Through training and experience, I know that an AirTag is an Apple product that is used to monitor its location. The Apple product description on apple.com describes the AirTag device as your AirTag sends out a secure Bluetooth signal that can be detected by nearby devices in the Find My Network app. These devices send the location of your AirTag to iCloud. Then you can go to the Find My app and see it on a map. To the Find My app. I think it used to be Find My iPhone. Now it's just Find My. The whole process is anonymous and encrypted to protect your privacy, and it's efficient, so there's no need to worry about battery life or data usage. Oh, do they have to be charged? The Apple.com describes an AirTag device as weighing blah, blah, blah. Apple lists the AirTag as being compatible with iPhone devices, iPod Touch devices, and iPads. You can put them on anything. I think when they say compatible, you need that an Apple device in order to read it. Kathy, are you still here? I know you talked about AirTags yesterday. How does that work? Matthew's truck with a California license plate was found in front of the residence he was found deceased in. A record search of this California license plate showed that Matthew Restelli was the registered owner of the truck. A search warrant was granted to search Matthew's truck. On 7/18/2024, detectives searched Matthew's truck, and an AirTag device was found in Matthew's truck. This AirTag was found in a cloth storage drawer, which was resting on the passenger side front floorboard of Matthew's truck. A cloth storage drawer. Guys, I'm drawing a blank. Why would the storage drawer be made? How can you have a drawer made out of cloth? I'm having a brain fart. I'm sure there's a logical explanation. So the tag was at the bottom of the drawer, filled with random debris, including paper, receipts, magazines, snacks, and drinks. Based on the location of the AirTag, detectives observed it would have been difficult to find if you were not looking for it. So Matthew would not have been looking for it because why would he think they AirTag him, you know? He's trying to reconcile with his wife, and they're plotting against him. A search of Kathryn's iPad and her mother's phone showed that Kathryn, her mother, and the shooter all had been shared access to the AirTag device to be able to monitor it. I'm only awake because I have not slept all night. Oh my God. Purple Irish sweater. Good morning. I haven't slept either. Well, I took a little nap. Okay. A search of Kathryn, blah, blah, blah. The AirTag was labeled truck, and the poop emoji was also displayed next to the title truck on the AirTag through the monitoring app Find My. On 7/12, Kathryn's sister sent a text to the shooter which read, Orem, keep an eye on Find My. It is reasonable to believe that the sister was telling the shooter Matthew's location based on the AirTag and to check his phone for an updated location of Matthew. This text message was sent to the shooter's phone approximately 22:01 hours Mountain Standard Time on 7/12. American Fork Police received the shots fired called on 7/12 at approximately 22:09. So this is a new case. This was just the summer. 7/12, I had only made one video for this channel at that time. in July. This same sister messaged another sister in the family on 7/12/2024, stating, Kate talked him into coming out. That's the setup. The sister responded, talked him into? To which the other sister responded, apparently. 12. A video was collected from a neighboring residence to the residence where Matthew's body was found. The neighboring residence has a camera which is activated by motion. On 7/12/2024 at approximately 22:06, the video recording is activated by Matthew Restelli's truck pulling up to Kathryn's mother's residence. Wait, 06 he pulled up? And what time did we hear the shots? I don't want to scroll back, but I feel like it's a short time after he arrived. They started shooting. Right? It is clear to see on the video that the truck parks in front of Kathryn's mother's residence and comes to a complete stop. The taillights on the truck then turn off, indicating that the truck's lights were turned off by the driver. 13. On 7/12/2024 at approximately 22:25, so 10:25, medical arrived on scene and began to conduct life-saving measures on Matthew. Prior to medical arriving on scene, patrol officers took a picture of Matthew. It is clear to see in this photograph that Matthew is lying on his stomach. Matthew's left arm is lying on the floor. So this is important, guys, because this part is staged, right? Or the police are alleging it's staged. So Matthew's left arm is lying on the floor with his left hand near the top of his head, with his left thumb knuckle touching his hairline on his forehead, right? So he's got it up, his knuckle. Matthew's right arm was extended out as if his arm was fully extended away from his body in a 45-degree angle to his side. In Matthew's right hand, a knife is clearly seen. The knife in Matthew's hand was gripped with the blade facing towards his hand, and the grip of the knife was in between. He's like, I want you to shut up, lady. Okay. 45-degree angle to his side. Matthew's right hand is clearly seen. The knife in Matthew's right hand was gripped with the blade facing towards his hand, and the grip of the knife was in between the thumb and index finger knuckles. So the grip between the thumb and the index finger knuckles. I don't know how you're gripping like this. The knife was gripped with Matthew's right thumb wrapped around the knife and in line with his other four finger knuckles. Matthew's index, middle, ring, and pinky fingers, so index, middle, ring, and pinky fingers, were gripped around the handle of the knife with the pads of these fingers touching his palm. Based on these observations, it was clear to see that the knife was being gripped and not loosely held. So maybe he was already dead. Like, because if you're holding it and you die, wouldn't you let it go? Like, you lose function, right? Also, the blade was facing inwards towards Matthew instead of pointing outward towards a threat. 14. Based on training and experience as a detective, I observed this picture and observed that it did not appear that Matthew was holding this knife when he was shot. It appeared that the knife was possibly placed into Matthew's right hand after he had been shot dead. While speaking to family of Matthew, detectives discovered that Matthew was dominantly left-handed. So he's not attacking anybody with a knife in his right hand, right? Like, hello. Detectives attended the autopsy of Matthew, and this is probable cause, so it's not beyond a reasonable doubt, right? It's probable cause, enough information to move to the next step. So it looks like it was placed in his hand because he's gripping it after death, and it's in the wrong hand. While speaking to family of Matthew, detectives discover, oh wait, I read that. A bullet wound was found in his right wrist area. This wound appeared to be from a bullet that entered one side of the wrist and exited the side of the wrist opposite of entry. So in one way, out the other. The exit wound on the wrist was in a circular shape with tissue and bone being forced out of the exit wound. Ugh. Sorry, guys, trigger warning. The medical examiner performing the autopsy confirmed this was a bullet wound. So now we discover in the right hand, the non-dominant hand where he's holding the knife backwards, he's also shot in the right wrist. And it has a clean exit wound, or it has an exit wound. I won't add clean. The medical examiner performing the autopsy confirmed this was a bullet wound. Matthew was wearing a long sleeve shirt. This was not observed by law enforcement until the autopsy. So you couldn't see it on the scene. So it's likely whoever put that knife in his hand did not see, right? Because they didn't see it until later when the body was moved and the autopsy was underway. Detectives found it is reasonable that if someone were to place a knife into Matthew's right hand after he had been shot, that the person also would not have seen the bullet wound in Matthew's right wrist due to his long sleeve shirt. So that bullet wound is even less plausible that he would still be holding on, gripping this knife, right? Detectives observed the knife and found it to be a brand called Evatac. This brand name was clearly printed on the knife blade. Knife was a folding pocket knife with a blade approximately 4 inches long and handle approximately 5 inches long. After researching the knife brand, detectives found that the company Evatac sold their brand to another company. It was discovered that the company, My Tactical Promos, put these Evatac knives into tactical mystery boxes that can be purchased from My Tactical Promos. The company will send you a mystery box gift if you enroll in a membership. So definitely some outdoors people, because I cannot think of why on earth I, in my personal life, would ever need a mystery box of tactical items, but hey. So while searching the mother's cell phone, detectives observed that she sent an email to support@mytacticalpromos.com. Detectives read this email and observed that on 4/10/2024, the mother sent an email requesting that My Tactical Promos stop sending tactical box mystery gifts and to please stop the monthly membership to an individual at his address in California because the individual had passed away. Okay, so someone died. Someone was getting these boxes. Whoever that person is in California, Kathryn's mom, wrote in on that person's behalf and said, stop sending these boxes. Is this person related to her? Why is she in this person's mystery box business? Detectives then searched this period of time in the mother's phone and found that the mother had gone to California in March and April of 2024 to help a friend with estate planning because her friend's husband, the individual mentioned previously, had passed away. So it's her friend's husband. Pictures on the mother's phone was found with metadata that showed the mother was at the residence where My Tactical Promos was sending products on 4/10/2024. So the knife that was in his hand after he was murdered was obtained by the mom from the mom's friend's dead husband's mystery box collection. And it ended up in Matthew's hands from California into Utah. How not to commit a murder. Okay, so metadata shows she was there. She took pictures of it. Several pictures also included the mother's face. So it is known that the mother was in California at the address. So she can't say somebody else had her phone because her face is in the pictures. Metadata shows the pictures are at that location in California. Girl, you there. So the mother could have obtained an Evatac knife from the California residence to bring back to American Fork. So if it came back with the mom, it was not coming in with Matthew. In April, so they have been planning this for a minute. On 7/15, a report was made to the American Fork Police Department by a friend of Kathryn's. This friend reported that Kathryn and herself have been in a friendship for 3 years, and during the last year of their friendship, they speak daily through text message, apps, and video chat. The friend reported that on 5/13/2024, she received a text message from Kathryn, which read something to the effect of, I'm trying to wait. I just might murder Matt today, though. Okay. Detectives searched Kathryn's phone and found that on 5/13/2024, Kathryn did send a text message to this friend. The text message sent from Kathryn's phone read, I'm trying to wait. I just might murder Matt today, though. Okay, so the friend reported that. So did the friend know? And also 5/13, that was right after his birthday because he was May 4th. The friend told detectives that on 7/12, the friend joined an online social media chat and video room where she observed at approximately 9:17 Central Standard Time that Kathryn posted, I have to do big girl things this morning. Wish me luck. The friend then reported that Kathryn had also told the social media group that she couldn't tell them what she was going to do when they asked about this post. Detectives searched Kathryn's phone and found that on 7/12/2024, Kathryn did make a post on this social media platform that read, I have to do big girl things this morning. Wish me luck. This was the morning of the murder of Matthew Restelli. So absent her claiming it's something else, it's obviously the murder that she's texting about or posting about on social media, right? Like, what else was it? Were you getting a mammogram? You know what I mean? Like, what were you doing that you needed to people to wish you luck on? Kathryn's friend told, oh my God, are you guys picking on Addie? Addie, are you laying down, not wearing your glasses? Type whatever you want, honey. You type whatever you want. Do we have trolls? Do I need to block anybody? Let me know. Just put the name in there and put a little something red, and then I'll take care of it. I'll yeet them, as EDP would say. Okay, so 20. Kathryn's friend told detectives that on 7/13, Kathryn called the friend and told her that Matthew was dead. Kathryn then told the friend that Matthew was pepperballed 8 times by her brother. The friend then expressed her condolences to Kathryn and said she was sorry Matthew had passed away. The friend then reported that Kathryn told her, it's okay, I'm happy. The friend told police that Kathryn and herself were both in a social media group video call on 7/13 when Kathryn told her online friends that her husband had died. In a social media group video, is that like a Zoom call? What do they mean, social media group video? Or like how we're doing? Like a StreamYard? What are they doing? After telling the group of people that her husband had died, Kathryn then showed the online group on video the area of the residence where Matthew had died, including the blood left on the carpet after Matthew's body was removed from the residence. Can you imagine? Like, your husband's dead, you're like, oh, look on my floor, my mom's floor, that's where he was. The friend told detectives that she spoke to Kathryn again on 7/13 on a FaceTime call. During the FaceTime call, the friend reported that Kathryn was getting ready to go on a date. Investigators later confirmed this and spoke to the individual Kathryn went on a date with. Balls of a burglar. When did she meet him? How did she know this man was going to be dead? Were they officially like separated and dating? I have questions. Okay. Investigators later confirmed this and spoke to the individual Kathryn went on a date with. During the FaceTime call, Kathryn told the friend that she wanted to show the friend something, then displayed an image of blood where Matthew's body was found and requested that the friend take a screenshot of it. During the FaceTime call, the friend reported that she spoke to both Kathryn and her mother. During the FaceTime call, Kathryn told her mother that the friend was interested in true crime. To which her mother told the friend, if I would have known, I would have taken a picture of the body. Detectives searched Kathryn's iPad and confirmed that on 7/13, she made several FaceTime calls to this friend. Based on the exact quotes from the friend compared to the text messages on Kathryn's phone and the FaceTime call logs, detective determined that the friend is a reliable witness, right? So there's multiple points corroborating what she said. So she seems like a reliable witness, a reliable narrator, right? They're cross-checking her versus Kathryn, who's going to say, oh, no, I would never do that. Oh, okay. Addie, Balthazar. W. Balthazar? Okay. Uh-oh. Yana. Okay. It sounds like everybody's in good hands. So, okay. Let's see. A search of Kathryn's iPad showed that she had recorded several phone calls between Matthew and herself. Detectives listened to these phone calls and observed several observations pertaining to this case. In these recordings, Matthew and Kathryn speak about Matthew driving from California to Utah to pick up Kathryn. Kathryn agrees to this plan. So there's no surprise. He didn't ambush her. They had a conversation about it. And this is our second one because also earlier, I guess she told her sisters that he was coming. Okay, so on 7/12, several recordings on Kathryn's iPad between Matthew and herself are recorded. During these recordings, Matthew is clearly driving a vehicle due to the background noise sounding like he is. Matthew speaks to Kathryn. I wonder why she's recording it. Matthew speaks to Kathryn about the route he is taking from California to Utah and gives Kathryn estimated times of arrival. And remember, she's also tracking him on the, AirTag. In one recording, Matthew tells Kathryn that he wants to leave the truck running since he will only be there for about 15 minutes as they get loaded up in the truck. Kathryn appears to be taken aback from this and stops talking, then begins to speak as if she is confused about Matthew not turning off the truck when he gets to the residence. Kathryn then returns to a normal speaking voice and says that it's fine. Oh my God, we got to get these recordings. I got to figure out how to get from Utah. I'm still trying to figure out. Anybody knows how to do FOIA for Utah recordings? Let me know. Okay, Kathryn then asks, are you going to come inside? Matthew doesn't respond to this question, so Kathryn asks again, are you going to come inside and help me load up? Matthew then responds, yeah. Kathryn then states, okay, the front door is always unlocked, okay? So she's telling him, come in, don't knock, don't ring a bell, come through. On 7/12, I wonder if she deleted any of these. Like, this seems awfully incriminating. And also, like, if we're comparing it to the Adelsons, I feel like the Adelsons were good about keeping themselves away from the scene, aside from Wendy, who had to go and see the crime scene. But you know what I mean? Okay. Good Lord, up to no good. Another recording between Matthew and Kathryn is recorded. In this recording, Matthew asks Kathryn if he can leave the truck running because Matthew is worried the truck won't start if he turns it off. Kathryn says that it's okay to leave the truck running and then immediately asks, you're going to come in though, right? Third time she's asked him. On 7/11, Kathryn texted her mother, Matt doesn't want to drive out. He's depositing money for me to rent a car. Kathryn's mother responded, nope. Well, we will just stay with you spraining your ankle and just keep putting him off. It's fine. Kathryn then responds to her mother, I'll tell him. Kathryn's mother then responded, you are gonna sprain your ankle soon. Kathryn then responded, yes, he wants me to leave tomorrow. I have to make arrangements for the car today. Kathryn's mother then responded, can't drive with that ankle. I know we can wrap it and make it look swollen under the wrap. From these messages, it is clear to see that Kathryn and her mother were thinking of ways for Kathryn to not take a rental car from American Fork back to California. So more evidence that she's luring him out to Utah. Because, girl, if you don't rent a car, like, he's got to drive all the way there and then all the way back. Do you know what I mean? She'd only have to drive one way. What the what? Kathryn records a recording on her iPad that goes on for several hours. This recording sounded like it was activated by accident because only background noise is heard. Near the end of the recording, a knock on a door is heard, and Kathryn states, I need you to watch my kids because I have to go to the car rental place to make my story sound plausible. Then a voice, later identified as the shooters, is heard saying, okay. They're just plotting. a murder right around the kids. Okay, on the 20s, or number 26. On 7/12, Kathryn's mother and Kathryn were texting about the car rental when Kathryn's mother texted her. It might help your story if you say you were there and they said no. Also, you might call them, and it's better for them to say, yeah, you were here, and we couldn't rent the car. On 7/12, Kathryn texts her mother. He is going to drive out. Second. I'm just going to read this. Okay. All right. Yeah, he's going to drive out. Kathryn's mother then texts Kathryn, I'll call you. A 5-minute call from Kathryn's mother to Kathryn is then made. Later that day on 7/12, Kathryn's mother then texts, I am meeting, and then in parentheses, the shooter, name redacted for probable cause purposes, for sushi. So we know she's meeting her brother for sushi, but at this point, we need a lawyer. I'm not sure why they can't list him in the probable cause, but that's what they're saying. His name is redacted for probable cause. Or maybe when they issued this document, they redacted. I'm not sure. Anyway, 7/11, Kathryn so we're going back a day, made a phone call to a divorce lawyer. On 7/12, on 7/11, a friend of Kathryn's texts Kathryn, what happened with the lawyer? Kathryn responded to the friend, it doesn't look good. The friend responded to Kathryn, can you talk? Kathryn responded to the friend, I'm still processing that it sucks, Kathryn also responded. I just have to establish residency. He, Matthew, expects me to be driving home tomorrow. He reserved a car. The friend responded to Kathryn, do you think he will drive there if you don't come home? Kathryn responded, the lawyer said, I'm in a tough spot. So she's not divorced and she's left the state and there's no divorce agreement. So if I were the parent, would call that kidnapping. If I were Matthew, I'd be like, she kidnapped my kids and removed them from the state because there's a different residency. That's a different jurisdiction, a different court. You know what I mean? Like she's basically absconded with this man's children, in my opinion. On 7/11, another friend texted Kathryn, how did your attorney meeting go? Kathryn responded, oh, this is another friend. Kathryn responded, honestly, I'm fucked. The friend responded, how so? Kathryn responded, just dumb California law. I just feel hopeless. The friend responded, so you have to stay in California, huh? What are you going to do? Kathryn responded, I don't know. I'm still trying to process it all. The friend responded, so you can't leave state, huh? Is it huh or H-U? I don't know what she's saying. I'm going with huh. When I spell huh, it's H-U-H. Matt probably knows and made it so you're screwed. Why would he want to screw you? So it's the custody of the kids. That's the similarity with the Adelsons, right? She doesn't want to give up her children. And obviously, well, not obviously. I don't know how it works when you're in different states. Like when I think of like Madeline Soto, was there an agreement or did the dad just like say, whatever, I'll get her in the summer? Like, he didn't want to pay child. You know what I mean? Like what? Who told her she could go? I don't get it. Okay, after listening to the recordings between Matthew and Kathryn, that were found on Kathryn's iPad, detectives observed the following. At no time did Kathryn tell Matthew not to come to Utah to pick her up. Kathryn and Matthew said, I love you to each other. Matthew told Kathryn he was excited to see her again. And Kathryn responded that she was as well. Did her date the next night know about these text messages? Matthew sounded happy and did not say anything to Kathryn that indicated he was mad at her or was going to force her to come with him. Kathryn even assisted Matthew in planning his route from California to Utah, speaking about the best roads to travel. After reviewing text messages between the two, Detectives observed that Kathryn texted Matthew on 7/12 the gate code to her mother's gated community, her mother's address, and even a picture of her mother's residence. So Matthew would know exactly where to go. And you see, she's laying all this out so she doesn't have to be involved. She doesn't have to go outside and like wave him down. She doesn't have to worry about him going to the wrong house where somebody else might go out and like, who are you with this California plate in this truck running in my driveway? You know what I mean? Like, some things she was clever about and other things hotmess.com. Like, why were you texting him all these like, oh, I can't wait to see you, I love you, and then you set him up? So she texted him when he texted her, expressed he was concerned about his truck leaking oil, and asked Kathryn to put down some cardboard so his truck's oil wouldn't leak on the asphalt, being considerate of her mom's driveway, right? On 7/12, Kathryn texted Matthew a picture of cardboard on the ground in the roadway directly in front of her mother's residence. Or maybe it wasn't the driveway, but it was the roadway. Okay, but whatever. He's still being thoughtful. Most people will just roll up and leak, especially like the roadway and not the driveway. Okay, on 7/12, detectives observed the cardboard underneath Matthew's truck. So not only did he ask for it, she responded, which looks welcoming, put it out there, sent him a picture to confirm it's out there. And then when the police are there, it is in fact there under his truck. So all signs point to, hey, Matthew, come through. On 7/12, a second 911 call was received by dispatch. This call was placed by Kathryn's mother. This call was received by dispatch at 22:15. Detectives believe that the time delay from when the first 911 call is received at 22:09. Okay, so the first shot was 22:07, right? Because the first call came in 2 minutes after because they wanted to think. To the time that Tracy called 911 is unreasonable. So they called at 9. They waited 2 minutes. She called at 15 after. So she waited, oh my God, 13 minutes. Almost 15 minutes. Damn. Quite a bit. Wait, no, it was heard at 22:07. Whatever it is, what took her so long? They were in there doing stuff. Because the neighbor paused because the neighbor was like, did I hear gunshots? What did I hear? But if you're in the house, you know this man was shot 8 times. What are you doing? Okay. Below is a summary of the evidence presented above. Matthew and Kathryn are married and live in California. Matthew and Kathryn are having marriage problems. Kathryn decides to leave California and travel to Utah to stay with her mother, with the minor children. While in Utah, Kathryn contacts a divorce lawyer. After speaking with a divorce lawyer, Kathryn feels that her situation is helpless and she doesn't know what to do. Matthew wants Kathryn to come back to California and offers to pay for a rental car so she can drive back. Kathryn and her mom come up with a plan to keep Kathryn from driving from Utah to California. Because of the made-up plan, this causes Matthew to drive from California to Utah to pick up Kathryn. While Matthew is driving from California to Utah, Kathryn tells Matthew that she loves him and never once tells him that she doesn't want to leave Utah. Kathryn provides Matthew with the gate code to her mother's gated community. Kathryn provides Matthew with a picture of her mother's residence. And Kathryn puts cardboard down on the ground at Matthew's request, so oil doesn't drip from his truck onto the ground. Okay, side note, how long have they been married? Has he never been to her mother's house? Like, he needs a picture? Do you know what I mean? Or maybe she recently moved? That seems sus to me. That is so crazy. Addie, I don't know who pepper spray, who you needed to hunt down, but I hope everything is okay. Okay. Because of the made-up plan, this causes Matthew to drive from California to Utah to pick up Kathryn. While Matthew is driving from California to Utah, Kathryn tells Matthew that she loves him. Okay, wait, I read that. Kathryn provides Matthew with the gate code. Kathryn provides blah, blah, blah. Matthew is driving from California. Kathryn confirms with him multiple times that he's going to enter her mother's residence when he arrives, at least 3. And she said, come on in, don't even knock. Matthew is shot and killed in Kathryn's residence while Kathryn is inside the residence. Matthew arrives at 22:06. Gunfire is heard at 22:07. So he's in there 60 seconds, and 911 is called at 22:09. A knife is found in Matthew's hand. However, detectives discovered that Matthew has never purchased this kind of knife, but Kathryn's mother had access to one in April. The day after Matthew is killed, Kathryn brags to her friends about the shooting and shows them pictures of the blood stains on the carpet. The day after Matthew is killed, Kathryn tells her friend she's happy he is dead. The day after Matthew is killed, Kathryn went on a date. Based on the evidence found during this investigation, detectives found probable cause to arrest Kathryn for murder, conspiracy for murder. Okay, so that's a second murder charge, obstruction, and domestic violence in the presence of a child ×2. Officer Dougherty is submitting this PC probable cause on behalf of Detective Norden of the American blah 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 blah. So that is the kind of the backstory on what is happening. I found this clip from Mauricio Padilla, who was, well, he represented Sarah Boone for a little bit, but he also represented Sigfredo Garcia. And so I wanted to show you guys this clip of our friend. Make sure.
Mauricio Padilla. He is a criminal defense attorney, about just how shocking the details of this case are.
I was shocked at the utter stupidity involved in this case in multiple levels. She sends text messages that are incriminating. She does social media posts day of the murder. She goes out on a date the day after the murder. They put the weapon in the wrong hand of the decedent. The actual weapon was tracked down almost immediately, coming from a tactical kit that was delivered to the mother in April. They have the videos of when the truck showed up, as opposed to when he got shot, was like a minute apart. Text messages from the sister saying that she talked the brother into it. So, I mean, listen, I'm used to seeing stupidity in the probable cause affidavits, but this one is up there.
I want to go to the date after the murder. And then, she's getting ready for a date, going on a date. So she apparently, according to the police, Kate Restelli was seeing somebody. So that was maybe part of the reason she wanted out.
And when did she schedule this date? They didn't put that in there, but obviously she had it planned out well before he got on the road to come to Utah. You know what I mean?
Of her marriage. They also say that she searched on the internet, how soon is too soon to tell somebody you love them, and 5 ways to get rid of hickeys. It's almost kind of like a high school kid or something like that.
So that was that foolishness. Like they did so many. Am I on? Yeah, they did so many. Like she did so many dumb things. So before I have the arrest warrant, but I want to go into chat before I go over there. Thoughts on the Adelson comparison, and I think just her overall approach. The cloth drawer sounds like an aftermarket basket they added to the truck. Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. Oh my God. Because it's got receipts and one of those collapsible style, sets in his truck. So they put it in there. But that seems like something he could take out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a risk you take when you're putting AirWatch things on people that you don't have permission to do so. I just pray that no one places me in that position ever. I love humans, but not all humans know the meaning of love. You're right about the pepper spray, though. Oh, I don't know what that was. Yeah, I don't understand these moms either. Like, because I've talked about Sigfredo, so that made me think of Katie McVanowa. A bunch of people were talking about Katie today. Like, oh, that's where she's in Lowell. That's where Sarah is, even though Sarah's not in Lowell. We all know that, right? But so these people who throw away like this stuff for your kids, Shayna Gardner, Wendy Adelson. Like you're taking one parent away for sure, and then Corey Richards, you might be taking two if you get caught when you get caught because they're not that bright. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure who has custody of the kids. I have so many cases right now because I'm like, I know Corey Richards, her in-laws have the children. Shayna, her in-laws. I want to say, I don't want to guess. I'm not sure who has the children of Matt and Kathryn because the grandma's in jail, the mom's in jail, the brother's in jail, and I want to say it's the grandma, his mom, but I don't want to misstate that. Let me just look at my PowerPoint really quick. So I feel like it is the mom that has them. His mom, which is Diane. Okay. Just let me look at my notes. Sorry if you hear the mouse clicking. It is trackpad. Okay, Diane Restelli. His mother, I believe, has the children. If that is wrong, when I cut this, I will fix that. But yeah, so that's what's going on with them. It's people who put themselves before their children. Yeah, I don't know why they're having kids if it's almost like they are possessions, right? And it's something to be won of like, oh, I get the kid, or they're either using the child like because they want it as a possession or as leverage to get like child support and other money. Do you know? Like, I don't know. I like my freedom. I like my thread count. I like the way my mattress is. Like, the more I hear about prison, not that I was ever trying to go, but like reading up on stuff for women going to prison, not my bag. Taking away the other parent, I'll never get it. My pets rely on me and I'm not doing anything to it. I know. Same. I don't know. Okay, so let's get into our did we go through? Yeah, we went through the whole thing. I want to go through. I'm gonna skip through some of this because it's kind of dense. It's 11 pages. We're just gonna grab and talk because I'm not gonna read all of these 11 pages. But basically, this is the charges against all three of them. So we have Kevin Stanley Ellis. I know we were calling him the shooter previously. That's her brother. Kathryn Restelli. Am I not sharing? Oh my God. Wait a minute. See, I have this monitor over here. I can see that this is not up on the screen. We getting it together, y'all. Now we just gotta figure out how to keep Sugar Bear asleep when we're on and popping. Okay. So, brother is Kevin. Wife is Kathryn. Mom is Tracy Marie Grist. Tracy is like 59. I'm 53 for context. That's like 6 more years. I can't imagine in 6 years that I'll be plotting somebody's death or I'll have plotted someone's death and be sitting in jail. Like, make better choices. And she's a grandma. She's got like people, little ones, who have costumes they need and whatnot. Okay, so count 1, murder, domestic violence, first-degree felony. It's against all three of them. Intentionally or knowingly cause the death of another individual. Count 2, the conspiracy. So it's all three of them. I'm wondering if they're going to go after the other sister, the one who also was tracking. Maybe they don't have enough. What do you guys think? Clearly she was in on it, right? Or she was in on the tracking part. I guess, how do you prove that she knew? I don't know. Okay, obstruction of justice in criminal investigations or proceedings exceptions, a second-degree felony. So they did with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constituted a criminal offense. So I don't know. I guess lying was obstruction of justice. The whole he was stalking her story. Commission of domestic violence in the presence of a child. So I do want to be clear. I believe the presence is that the children were present in the home, but they did not actually visually pray, dear Lord Jesus, see the uncle shoot the father 8 times. I think that's a distinction. I just want to make that because I know, like, in the Susan Lawrence case, she kept saying the children weren't present because I think she meant that they didn't actually see the bullet, but they were present and then they were outside and then they saw their mother pass away. So I believe that's what they're saying in the presence of. Like, they were in the home when the shots were fired. Shots fired! Purchase, transfer, possession, or use of a firearm by a Category 2 restricted person. So wherever the gun came from, Kevin. Oh, that's right, and he was a felon. So that in and of itself was a charge. Just him, even if the self-defense story were true, he still would have been arrested for being in possession of that. He's also in possession or use of a controlled substance, and they put in here cocaine. So he did intentionally possess or use. So, yeah, it's Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 to wit cocaine. Probable cause statement. So we went through that already. Summary of the probable cause. We basically went through this. So forensic evidence of the shooting and the planting of the knife on Matt's body. The front door to Tracy's home opens into a small entryway. Tracy is mother-in-law. Immediately forward and to the right is the home's living room, which leads into the dining room. He wouldn't have known that because he's never been there, right? We know that because she's sending him pictures of the outside. So did she send him pictures of the inside? He's just walking in saying, hello, honey, I'm home. You know, it all just, I bet you he had like some sort of intuition that something was up, right? I hope he just didn't walk in blind, like, oh my God. Anyway, either way, it's wrong. I'm just, okay. Deep breaths. Immediately forward to the left is the hallway where Matt's body was found. So immediately to the left. So the right is the living room, which leads into the dining room. He's to the left. The hallway leads to the kitchen that connects to the dining room. Officers located 8 bullet casings in the living room near the front door. I'm trying to figure out, so why did he go left? They also located 3 bullet holes in doors or walls close to the front door. So he just opened fire. Bam, 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 bam. The location of the bullet casings and bullet holes indicated that Kevin was in the living room as he shot Matt, who was moving from the front door into the hallway. A medical exam showed that Matt had been shot once directly in the chest, once on the side of his right upper torso, 3 times in the back, once in the back of the hip, and once in his right wrist. I would love to see the graphic or the diagram of like the entry points of the bullet and the exit points, because he didn't stand a chance. It sounds brutal. And like, maybe the right, he was holding his arm up, do you know what I mean? And the bullet went through. Because then that would pull the long sleeve down, right? So it would have access for the bullet to go in. And then it would go in and out without damaging the shirt. And then when his arm went down, the long sleeve just went back down toward his wrist. That's how I'm envisioning it. Okay. The knife found in Matt's right hand was a single-edged blade that had a handle with a finger grip. Matt's hand was gripping the knife with the finger grip pushing into the palm of his hand, while the spine part of the handle, which is normally held against the palm, was pushing into Matt's finger. So it's in there backwards, like the way you would absolutely never grab it. However, there was both an entry and an exit wound on Matt's right wrist where he was holding the knife. Additionally, Matt is left-handed. In other words, Matt was holding the knife in his offhand in the wrong position, with a wound that would have practically prevented him from even gripping a knife, let alone wielding it, right? Taken together, the physical evidence indicates the knife was planted in Matt's hand after the shooting. Search of Kevin's bedroom. On the nightstand, Kevin's identification together with a rolled up $1 bill that field tested positive for having cocaine on it. So he had to get a little bit of courage up before he went to do the deed, lower those inhibitions. Additional statements made by Tracy and Kathryn. Post Miranda, Tracy said she knew that Matt was coming to her home and that he would be arriving a little after 10 p.m. Tracy said she was sitting at the kitchen counter, and the next thing she knew, Matt was in the kitchen and said, "Hi." Tracy stated Matt appeared agitated and that he began to walk away, asking if Kathryn was upstairs. Kathryn said yes. Or, I'm sorry, Tracy said yes, but that Kathryn would come down. Like he was trying to go upstairs. And so you're telling... Tracy stated she then heard gunshots while she was still sitting at the kitchen counter. She said she then ran into the hallway and saw Matt lying face down. She stated she then went upstairs to tell Kathryn not to come downstairs and that she, Tracy, then called the police. But we've got, what did we say, 12 minutes in there? What were you doing for those 12 minutes, Tracy? Kathryn told officers that she and Matt lived in California and had been struggling financially, and that Matt had been verbally abusive. She said that on June 20th, 2024, she took their two children, and drove to American Fork. Isn't that kidnapping? Did she have papers? While Matt stayed in California. On the 11th of July, Matt made arrangements for her to rent a car to drive back to California. She said that due to having an out-of-state driver's license and only a debit card, she was unable to pick up the rent. Just extra. People, when they lie, they put in extra stuff for no reason, which just gives you more to pick apart. Anyway, Matt told her he would drive to Utah to pick her and their two children up and take them home to California. Kathryn said Matt told her he would arrive at her address at 10:10. He was early. He's punctual, like to the minute. Oh my God, because he got there, what did we say, 6, 7? 6. He got there at 6. He was shot at 7. Neighbor called at 9, 10:09. Okay. Matt told her he would arrive at 10:10. Kathryn told police she was undecided if she was going to return to California with Matt or if she would continue to stay in Utah and stay separated. She said she was in the upstairs bedroom waiting for Matt to arrive when at about 10:15 she heard commotion coming from downstairs and then heard gunshots. She said Tracy came upstairs to inform her that an incident had occurred and to stay in the room and that she was going to call the police. Electronic evidence. Kathryn's cell phone, iPad, Tracy's cell phone, Matt's cell phone were collected. Following is a partial description of incriminating evidence. Knife found in Matt's hand was made by a company called Evatech. Okay, we went through this. This is just basically what we saw in the probable cause. The text, like, I'm coming. She's upset when the lawyer tells her she's not in a good space for divorce. That is all of that. So then I've got another clip where the state lays it out for a hearing about their thoughts on the brother-in-law. Come on. Is it sharing? There we go. Let's go back.
Good morning, Judge. On July 12th, 2024, Kevin Ellis shot dead Matthew Restelli. The state alleges that Kevin Ellis, Tracy Grist, and Kathryn Restelli conspired to murder Matt, who was Kathryn's husband. In broad strokes, the state's allegation is that Kathryn and Tracy worked together to lure Matt into driving to Utah and to entering Tracy's home where Kevin was waiting armed with a handgun. Almost immediately after Matthew arrived, Kevin shot and killed him. Matthew was unarmed. A knife was then planted in Matthew's hand to try and cover up the conspiracy and claim the shooting was in self-defense. We understand this is Mr. Ellis's preliminary hearing, but to explain the conspiracy and his role in it, the state will necessarily have to explain part of each individual's role in that conspiracy. To begin with, it will be helpful to understand the family connection of the persons involved and who the court will hear evidence from today. To assist with this, we presented or created a demonstrative exhibit, a family tree, which we're going to put on the screen now. Your Honor can see Matthew Restelli on the screen. You can see a line connecting him to Kathryn Restelli, who was his wife. Matthew's mother is Diane, and his brother is Mark. Matthew and Kathryn had 2 minor children, a female child who at the time of the death was age 6, and a male child who at the time of the death was age 3. Kathryn's mother is Tracy Grist. Tracy Grist had 7 children: Tara Lynn Fisher, Kathryn, Kevin Ellis, Tim Ellis, Rachel Jorgensen, Jacob Trujillo, Aurora France. The court will receive an 1102 today from Diane. It will hear testimony from Rachel. Other evidence will come in through text messages and phone calls from some of these other persons. Your Honor, at this point, I will now give a brief, roughly 5 to 6 minute overview of the state's evidence that will be presented today as we present our theory that Matthew was ambushed and murdered by some of his in-laws. During the spring and summer months of 2024, Matthew and Kate had a strained relationship. They lived in California at that time. Kate viewed this as a loveless marriage, one from which her options to leave on terms she wanted were severely limited. The fractured relationship led Kate to having affairs and ultimately separating from Matthew on June 20th, 2024. She took their 2 young children to live at her mother's house in American Fork. Sometimes this was referred to as a breather or a break. The evidence will show that after Kate came to Utah, Kate and her family learned how hard it would be for her to separate from Matthew in a divorce and get everything she wanted. At this time, California would still have jurisdiction over the children in any custody battle or dispute. As Kate put it to a friend, honestly, I'm expletive. I just feel hopeless. The evidence will show that although Kate had wanted out with the divorce, a backup plan, if you will, of murder developed. A plan that began with Kate and Tracy, but eventually included Kevin as well. The state believes the evidence of the execution of that backup plan can be broken down into one of several phases. Phase 1 was to get Matt to Utah. Phase 2 was to get Matthew inside of Tracy's home. Phase 3 was to kill Matthew. And Phase 4 was to cover it up. I will briefly describe each. Phase 1, getting Matt to Utah. See, for this conspiracy to work, Matthew would have to come to Utah. The evidence will show that Matthew wanted Kate and the kids to come home, but it will also show that Matt did not actually want to come to Utah to get them. He tried various other means to get them to come home. He tried to rent a car for Kate. He then tried to just give Kate money so she could rent a car. But Kate and Tracy worked together to create lies and falsehoods as to why that wouldn't work. The court will receive messages documenting those excuses. Kate continually and consistently worked to convince Matt to come to Utah, and not only that, to drive to Utah. And she convinced him to drive a very specific car, their truck. You will hear a phone call between Matt and Kate where he talked about borrowing a car, but Kate was insistent he had to bring the truck. Question is why? Because an Apple AirTag had been placed inside that truck, buried in a bin of trash. An AirTag that Matt did not know about. Kate made sure he brought that truck because the AirTag would allow the Grist family, multiple members of the family, including Kevin, to track him on his drive. But even though Kate had convinced Matt to drive to Utah in the truck, the family could track him, there would yet be another problem. How would they get Matt to come to the house? See, the phone calls between Matt and Kate the court will receive today will show that Matt had one purpose. He was there to pick up his little family and go back to California. He even stated he didn't even want to go in the house. He didn't even want to turn off the truck. He just wanted to wait outside for them to come out with their bags. He would load them up and they would start the drive. See, one reason Matt didn't want to go inside the house is because he and Tracy, to put it fairly or nicely, just didn't get along. In fact, on a June 6, 2024 text message by Tracy to her daughter, she said, quote, "Matt made it so I want to kill him. He straight up lied. I'm gonna kill him." Despite that fractured relationship between Matt and Tracy, over multiple phone calls and messages with Matt, Kate persisted in giving him a false sense of security that it would be okay to enter the home. She told him the doors were unlocked. She told him her mother, Tracy, would be asleep. In fact, Tracy told Kate to tell Matt something to the effect of, "I'll be as sweet as sugar to him." Meanwhile, the family was monitoring that AirTag. Again, Kevin was part of the group that could track Matt through that AirTag. We know that he could monitor it at least as early as June 26, which was over 2 weeks before the killing. In one text message exchange with Kevin, Kevin told Kate that he could come back to Utah from a trip to Idaho if Matt came to Utah from California. Specifically, he said, quote, "If I have to rush back, I can make that happen." He then sent Kathryn a screenshot of Matt's Apple AirTag location through the tag in the truck. Throughout the day of the homicide, there were numerous phone calls between the family along with messages, many of which discussed Matt, and preparations were made throughout the day. Tracy had a private lunch with Kevin at a local sushi bar, and only a few days before that, Tracy had deleted her entire chat history with Kevin. The youngest daughter who lived in the home was sent away for the night. Together, the family monitored Matt while Kate worked to get Matt to come into the home. All the while, an audio from a phone call placed just a few hours before his arrival, Matt's arrival, shows that he didn't want to turn off the car, but in fact, he asked Kate specifically to put out a piece of cardboard so he didn't leak oil on the sidewalk or the road for the very few minutes he'd be parked there. During these phone calls, Kate consistently told Matt how much she loved him and how she was excited to go home with him. And this is despite the fact that she told a friend that night that she had allegedly told Matt she wasn't coming home with him. But then right after that phone call, she texted Matt the gate code to the gated community the Grist and Ellis home was inside of. And then at 10:01 p.m., just minutes before Matt's arrival, Rachel, one of the sisters, texted Tracy and Kevin to look at the AirTag. And the metadata on Rachel's phone shows that Kevin's phone read that message. We move to phase 3, what the state alleges is an ambush. Matt entered the gated community, and a neighbor's security camera observed Matt's truck pulling up to the Grist or Ellis home at 10:06 p.m. Matt took approximately 30 seconds to park, even left his hazard lights on. At 10:07 p.m., the neighbors heard gunshots from the home. At 10:09 p.m., the neighbors called 911. It wasn't until 6 minutes later, or around 8.5 to 9 minutes after the shooting, that Tracy called 911. Your Honor, you will hear the surprise in Tracy's voice as she found out the neighbors had already called 911, because that was not part of their plan. Just 2 minutes into her phone call, you will hear the police arrive, having been dispatched from the prior report by the neighbors. They later called Matt an armed intruder, but the evidence will show that Matt was neither armed nor an intruder. After all, he was given the gate code, specifically told the front door to be open, and that he should just come right on in. Which leads us to the fourth phase, Your Honor, what we call the cover-up or the obstruction. When police came in, they did find a knife in Matthew's hand. Now, outside of that 8 or 9 minute delay in calling 911, there are at least 3 pieces of evidence the state will present today to suggest that that knife was planted in Matthew's hand. First, the knife was being held backwards. Second, the knife was held in the wrong hand. See, the knife was found in Matthew's right hand, but Matthew Restelli was left-handed. And third, there was a bullet hole in the wrist of Matthew Restelli's forearm, where the wrist and forearm come together. A bullet had perforated his ulna and severely damaged the muscles that provide the flexion and tension in a grip. Your Honor, you will watch the body cam of the 3 co-defendants and be able to observe numerous inconsistent statements. You will hear connections between Tracy. You hear about connections between Tracy and a company that supplies the exact type of knife that was found in Matthew's hand. You will hear that on June 16th, 2024, Tracy Google searched Utah, shoot, break-in. And you will hear that on July 11th, 2024, the day before the killing, Tracy searched, when was Donna Adelson arrested? Donna Adelson is a woman charged with hiring a hitman to kill her son-in-law. Your Honor, the evidence today will show that the person Tracy conspired with to kill her son-in-law, Matt, was not a hitman, but her own son, Kevin. Thank you.
If that is not damning, I don't know what is. Grandma is Googling, when was Donna Adelson arrested? Pick better role models, ma'am. Why are you Googling when was Donna Adelson arrested? You didn't make it as long as she did, sis. She made it 9 years. You made it 9 minutes. I cannot believe that. Okay, I see in the chat we're talking about the cocaine. I'm going to go back to where it specifically says about the cocaine. Let me just share this because it was the brother who had it. And they found it. It was rolled up. So they only charged. Oh my God, am I sharing this? Hold on. This second monitor is such a blessing. Whoever recommended that, thank you, because then I can see if I'm sharing or not without talking and not sharing. Okay, so let's go back. Count 7, possession or use of a controlled substance, cocaine, right? So that's, uh-oh. Now I got too excited and I've unplugged something. Okay. I don't know what just happened. Hopefully, let me make sure you guys can still see me. Yeah. Okay. Back to this. So he has defendant Kevin Stanley Ellis did knowingly and intentionally possess or use a controlled substance, analog or controlled substance, which was classified, and then to the next one. It was actually on a dollar bill. That's what I'm trying to find. Okay. So there we go. Search of Kevin's bedroom. Officers searched Kevin's room and on the nightstand found Kevin's identification together with a rolled up $1 bill that field tested positive for having cocaine on it. So that is what it said. My thing was he probably used it for courage like right before. Do you know what I mean? Okay, now my monitor is out and it's gonna drive me crazy because I was just excited about it. Hold on 1 second. Because the laptop and the monitor went. I don't know. So yeah, they did use all of the technology. The grandma, and actually, I didn't find it. I'm going to show you because grandma's actually kind of hot-ish. She's not giving grandma. Let me say it that way. Oh, excuse me. Oh my God, what is this woman's name again? The crazy lady. Let me go back to this. Tracy Marie Christ. Tracy Marie Christ. Because at first glance, I don't know, I thought, oh, maybe that is actually, she looks youthful. Let me just say that. Tracy Marie. Did I spell it wrong? G-R-I-S-T. Utah. Well, good Lord. This is anticlimactic. Okay, hold on. Okay. Let's see. So there. Can you guys see her? She is. That's Grandma, who I think in this instance, she's the mastermind of it all, right? Like that's why because there was a time where everybody was calling Donna the mastermind. I don't know if you guys remember that. And so she's right because she was doing the insistence on like, say you broke your ankle or sprained your ankle or whatever she was telling her. And then clearly she lives in Utah. She probably wants them to move to Utah. You know, she wants her grandkids closer. And so I don't know. Is that like a rich people thing to be like, I'm just going to kill them? That's the easiest part for me is just to unalive everybody. I'm like very confused about it. About what are they accomplishing in the end? Because even though they used all this ding-dang technology, a lot of it didn't do them any good. Oh, I'm trying to plug everything back in over here. Yeah, let me just go back to we'll do the comments. Because I lost my other screen. My ex is complete, but I can't imagine plotting to take him out. These people are fascinating. Yeah, and the whole like self-defense thing that they were going with, I don't know how that was gonna work. All right, I'm gonna get out of here though, because my little shaboogie is ready to not be listening to this, and the sun is coming up here in New York. I have east-facing windows, so that's gonna happen. But thank you guys for waking up with me, and I will cut some of this up. You'll see more of it, like in smaller clips. If you came in late or you didn't want to watch the whole thing, if you made it this far and you're on the replay crew, I appreciate you. And everyone who's here with me live, I greatly appreciate you spending time with me. I'm off work today, so I will be home making content. I'm going to take Sugar Bear to school, so I'll probably do a live a little bit later on. We'll finish up the Sarah Boone rewatch. We'll do her sentencing. I'll put out, turn your notifications on just in case, but I'll flag it on there for you guys. All right. I hope you have an amazing day. Welcome to the second day of 2025. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. I greatly appreciate you. I'm excited to see what we're all going to do together in 2025. And as we continue to be crusaders for justice and protecting, the victims, standing up for the victims, right? All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Toodles. Bye.